7:02. This Oak Park City Council meeting is called to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Ed Norris, please call the roll.
Mayor McClellan,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Here.
Councilmember Speech, Councilmember Radner, Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Councilmember Radner just walked in.
Oh, excellent. That's great. Thank you.
That's my name, that's all.
Okay. Item 4 is approval of the agenda. Please note that we are removing item 15E for further study. 15E. Motion to approve the agenda without item 15E.
So moved.
Support?
Second.
Did we get support?
Yes.
Yes, aha. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. These are routine items that are approved as a single item without discussion. Any council member can ask for one of these items to be removed from the blanket approval. Any items need to be removed?
No.
Item 5A, regular council meeting minutes of May 16th, 2016. Request to cancel the regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting of June 13th due to lack of scheduled business. C, request to cancel the regularly scheduled Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of June 28th due to lack of scheduled business. D, request to appoint Rocco Fortura as the representative and Kevin Yee as the alternate representative to the SACRA Board for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016. E, payment application number 1 for the 2016 water main replacement project M625 to ADJ Excavating Incorporated for the amount of $124,307.32. F, request to advertise for bids for the 2016 sidewalk replacement project M627. G, request to advertise for bids for the Scotia resurfacing project M642. H, proposal change order number 1 in the amount of $54,269.04. That is in our favor. And payment application number 2 in the amount of $10,580 to Nagel Paving Company for the 2015 Shepherd Park parking lot reconstruction project M608. I, proposed change order number 1 in the amount of $4,832.65. That's in our favor. And payment application number 3 in the amount of $112,779.16 to Mattioli Cement Company, LLC, for the 2015 miscellaneous concrete repair project, M621. J, payment of invoices from Orchard Hilson McClement, OHM, for 9 Mile Road conceptual plan and traffic analysis, CE Oak Park Boulevard and Lincoln Rehab, traffic signal optimization and CE traffic signal construction in the total amount of $87,902.67. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there support?
Yes.
Yes. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. I see an elected official hiding out. Our Oakland County Commissioner, Helene Zach, with an update from Oakland County. Commissioner Zach, just make sure your mic is on, that there's a green light.
Thank you. Helene Zach, Oakland County Commissioner, representing East Oak Park, east of Coolidge. And I wanted to give you some updates. If any of you travel to the Oakland County Courthouse, there is going to be a significant project, security update, facility improvement going on pretty soon. The south entrance, that roadway and the parking lot is going to be totally reworked. Part of it is security, part of it is just entering the building. It's overdue. So I don't know if it's started yet, but it's soon to come up. There will be detour signs, as well as the fact that you can enter the building from the north side of the courthouse. For those of you that go in and out of there. One of the things that we've been doing at the county is we've surveyed all of our facilities for security updates. One of the things that they did at the courthouse, we now have 2 lines, we have some bulletproof glass to help motion call day on Wednesdays, people get through more conveniently, as well as more security updates. So throughout the county, we are approving those different types of projects. And this courthouse path, part of it is security, part of it is just new roadway. Last week, I serve on the Citizens Advisory Council for the Regional Transit Authority. And last week, they introduced the Regional Transit Draft Plan. And I encourage everybody to go to the rta.org website, review the regional transit plan. There will be an opportunity in June in Oakland County. On Monday, June 20th, there is a meeting in Farmington Hills at the Caustic Center starting at 6:30 p.m. And there's one on Wednesday, June 22nd at Berkeley Recreation Center, and we want to hear feedback about this draft plan. From there, the Regional Transit Authority will vote on the adopted plan, which in July, I believe the end of July, and then there will be a ballot proposal before the voters, a 1.2 millage ask to fund this regional transit plan, and that will be on our November ballots. And so what I really want people to do is to really read the plan and critique it closely. Is it going to service them? What do you want to see in it that's not there? So the more people that look at it and give feedback, the better it's going to be for all of us. So I encourage you to do that. Last time I was here, I talked about a new road pilot for the city of Oak Park, and you should have received information. Letters were supposed to have been sent to the city manager as well as the mayor talking about this new pilot and how to proceed. And it is, like I said, some matching dollars for local road projects. And it will go through for approval through the Board of Commissioners like we do the Tri-County Party. You know, it's a beginning. It's setting a standard. It's trying to bring additional resources into our cities and villages for roads. So that's it today. Any questions for me?
Just if you could repeat the June 20th Caustic Center time. And
That is in Farmington Hills. It's at 6:30 p.m. This is also on the RTA website. And I
the June
can't,
22nd time in Berkeley.
I honestly don't recall the exact time it's on the website.
We'll check it.
And I
Thank
do, I appreciate the mayor came to the kickoff meeting and to learn more and to be part of it. And that's wonderful to have you there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your update. Item 10A is a request for special event license and waiver of fees is submitted by, wait a minute, you forgot something? Aha, yes, thank you. I'm in such a hurry. Item 7, special recognition and presentations. City Manager Tungate, would you tell us about our this month's special people?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council, and members of our community. As you know, every month I have the distinct honor of recognizing some of our best and brightest employees. And this month is a little bit unique because I'm recognizing two of our best and brightest employees. And I wanted to, before I turn it over to our Deputy Director of Technical and Planning, Dave DeCoster, I want to say just a few things. And I want, what I'm about to say, will really tell you these individuals and the quality that they bring to the table. First, Jeff Wren, who is a 15-year resident of the city of Oak Park. Listen to this. So he's a certified firefighter. He's a certified medical first responder. And he's Canadian, I think, too, right? But you're, okay, initially at least. But he's a Michigander now, which we'll take him, right? And he also has a bachelor's degree from the great Western Michigan University, which is my alma mater, so of course I'm gonna love that, right? But just what a background in this individual in terms of what he does for us in our Building and Code Division over in the Department of Technical and Planning. Can't thank you enough. And Deputy Director, I'm gonna talk about Tony here a moment. I'm gonna turn it over to you. Tony Christoffel is also in our Code Division over in the Department of Technical and Planning. Tony she's a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, right? Originally, you're now, right? You've switched. Okay. Not that our team would make you switch, but you have to, right? With a ton of experience in municipal government, a bachelor's degree in sociology with an emphasis in criminal justice, and 4 kids on top of all of it. Started in our building department in 2012, shortly after I arrived, and then has now worked her way to one of our code officers. And Tony and Jeff both do just a wonderful job for this community in terms of their dedication and drive, in terms of every day going out there and making sure that blight, animal control, all the other things are taken care of on behalf of our residents. And so I want to thank you very much, and I want to turn it over to our Deputy Director, Dave DeCoster.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council, and City Manager Eric Tungate. Expanding on the words from our City Manager, I'd like to add the following. Tony Christoffel has excelled in a number of different roles here at the City of Oak Park. She was a former temporary employee who was hired full-time in December of 2013. Last year, Tony was promoted to a full-time code assistance and animal control position and has been doing a great job in her role patrolling the entire city. Jeff Wren is a state certified building official and was hired full-time in March of this year. He previously worked in the Technical and Planning Department on a contractual basis to provide support for the NSP program a number of years ago. His municipal experience and building expertise has been a real asset to the City of Oak Park and the Technical and Planning Department. I'd also like to note a small incident that occurred last month with both of these two employees. On May 23rd, both of these employees happened to be in the area of Rosewood and Oak Park Boulevard where a man on a bike had just been hit by a car. A small crowd had gathered around the injured man, and in separate vehicles, both Tony and Jeff provided assistance to the man laying in the street. Tony blocked traffic and called 911 to report the incident, while Jeff, being a first aid certified technician, was able to restrain the man's head and comfort him until public safety and EMS arrived. Upon the man's request, he also notified his wife of the incident. Combined with their work ethic, their dedication, and this incident, I believe they are a great candidate for the Employee of the Month. So Director and Barrett would like to congratulate Tony Christoffel and Jeff Wren on the City Manager's Employee of the Month.
Congratulations, you two. And now to embarrass you more, right? I'm going to ask you both to come up, and if you have family, come up as well, and we're going to have your photos taken with City Council. coming here. Let's do one without you, and then let's bring you in. How's that? Okay.
Now we have item 10, special licenses. 10A, request for special event license and waiver of fees submitted by Community and Economic Development for the Summer Concert Series to be held in Shepherd Park. Mark your calendars, July 7th, 14th, 21, and 28, 2016. So there will be 4 summer concert events held in Shepherd Park. Motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Support?
Support.
Any discussion? Yes.
I'm just want to say thank you, Kimberly Maroney, for writing the grant, getting us approved. Again, I attended the summer concert series last year, and it was a very, very nice event. I invite all of the city residents of Oak Park to come out and attend. It's very nice. They usually have an eclectic set of musicians each day. Something is for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Agreed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 10B, request for special event license and waiver of fees is submitted by Oak Park Arts and Cultural Commission for the Dancing in the Park series to be held in Shepherd Park on, these are 4 Thursdays in June, June 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Discussion or questions? Another fun evening in the city of Oak Park. Music and dancing. So dancing for kids and grandmas and everybody just kind of hangs out and has a great time. Motion to approve, we have? Motion to approve?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Item 11A, approval for payment of an invoice submitted by Seacrest, Bortle, Lynch, Hampton, Truax, and Morley for legal services in the amount of $2,372.40. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Good. Discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried. We have, under city attorney, is there a report from City Attorney Duff?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor. I actually have a request. We need to schedule a study session for 2 ordinance matters, for our smoking facility ordinance and the animal control ordinance. I am proposing dates of July 5th or July 18th before the next meeting scheduled those dates. So if you could all check your calendar, and I'll come back and circle through email just to confirm those dates, and then we'll get a public notice scheduled for those meetings.
Wonderful. Thank you. There is also a closed session at the end of this meeting. we can move to go to the closed session at that time. Pursuant to Section 8 of the Open Meetings Act, to convene into closed session to discuss attorney-client privileged communication and pending litigation regarding Kish et al. Versus the City of Oak Park. Motion to go into closed session at the end of this meeting.
So moved.
Support. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Motion carried. There is no business after this closed session, so if you've just come for the meeting, you don't have to stay through the end of that one. Next, we have City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Before I get into 15A, I wanted to strike a little somber note with an update. And so many of you have heard of the recent news regarding alleged illegal behavior with one of our employees in the finance department. So I wanted to speak directly to some of the issues that are being discussed in the media and provide reassurance that we are doing everything possible to make sure our taxpayers' assets are protected. And so while this most recent issue is disheartening, it is important to remember that it was caught the very next day after it occurred. And that means our safeguards in place worked. The employment status of the individual involved is being addressed according to the procedures outlined by law and the collective bargaining agreement. So in addition to all of the measures being taken, I've hired a forensic auditing team to examine our processes again and help us identify even more areas for improvement. This incident is truly unfortunate, and it proves that the poor choices of one individual can lead to a negative view of an entire organization and take away the focus on all of the other improvements that we've made throughout our city. I can assure you that our employees are the best in the business, and I can also assure you that we will not be dissuaded by any of acts like this or in the future like this, because undoubtedly we will see things like this again. That will not turn us back, and we will come out of this an even stronger city government. We've made it before and we'll do it again. Thank you. With that said, I'm going to move on to 15A. 15A is approval of assessing services contract with WCA Assessing. I've asked two of the principal individuals from WCA to come to the podium if you could. Give us a brief overview of your proposal.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Aaron Powers, and I have Doug Shaw here with me. Doug is my partner, and we're the two managing directors for WCA Assessing. A little bit of history about our company. WCA has been in business for over 35 years, providing cost-effective solutions for local government. Currently, right now, we service 25 different municipal clients. Those clients are primarily located in Wayne, Washtenaw, and Kalamazoo County. We provide on-site assessing services for all these municipal governments. We've thought in years past that we've been able to find such a cost-effective solution that governments have tended to find that it's a great fit for them, and we've had some growth in the last few years. Our company motto is definitely really strong in regards to providing the best customer service, both to your constituents as well as to your local officials as well. And we look very much forward to having the opportunity to be able to work with the City of Oak Park. We welcome any questions you have. We have put forth a pretty comprehensive proposal. It's a 3-year proposal that allows us to be able to provide full assessing services for the City of Oak Park. And we look forward to having the opportunity to work with you.
City Manager
Thank
Tungate.
you, Aaron. A couple things, council members, I wanted to add. For many of you, I think you know that our city assessor has, back on March 15th, notified me that he'll be retiring effective June 30th of this year. We had a assessor position advertised for in excess of 60 days with no responses until I received their proposal. In an effort to be as open and fair as I possibly could be, I solicited a response from Oakland County to provide the same services, and I wanted to point out a couple of the differences. We are currently paying around $165,000 a year for our entire appraiser and assessing function. Oakland County delivered a proposal to me that was $165,177, and it included no staff that would be present here on a daily basis. Comparing and contrasting that with WCA's proposal, they have agreed to provide a 3-year deal. In the first year, they would provide those same services for $140,000, a $25,000 savings to the city. That would go to $153,300 in year 2 and 3, still a very large savings to the city. And here's the thing that I think our residents will like the most, which is that 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, every week, 8 to 5, they will staff this department right here in City Hall. And if our residents have questions, they'll be here to answer those questions and carry on appraisal duties as necessary each year. They will also handle a variety of different audit requirements. They're familiar with the BSNA software system, small claims petitions for residential, and they'll work with our city attorney for the large Michigan Tax Tribunal commercial industrial claims and possibly residential, depending on the size. Their proposal was by far more in line with what we were looking for, and especially, again, because we had, they were gonna staff it 4 days a week.
Okay, so we are asked to approve contract with WCA Assessing for assessing services for term to June 2016 through May 2019, subject to final approval by the city attorney. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have support? No support?
Support.
Okay. Discussion or questions? Councilmember Rich.
Yes, I have a few questions. Will WCA be providing a form of bond or surety with regard to their administration of these services?
Yes, sir, and through the chair, in the proposed contract that we supplied the city manager, our contract included all of our insurance coverages. All of our insurance coverages have been thoroughly reviewed by our 25 different municipal clients. We carry errors and omissions insurance, workman's compensation insurance, liability insurance, for each instance, I believe exceeding $1 million or $2 million. We have made every effort to make sure that we can comply with every insurance request that we've had from any of our municipal clients, and in 35 years, we've never actually had to make a claim on our insurance, but yes, we do carry all those coverages.
I heard you mention Wayne, Washtenaw,
And Kalamazoo.
And Kalamazoo. Here in Oakland County, are there any municipalities with whom you work with?
A number of our staff, including myself, have worked in Oakland County before, but currently we have no other contracts in Oakland County. We were, for a short period of time, servicing West Bloomfield Township. They have a full staff, and we service that jurisdiction while, in fact, they were looking for a level 4 assessor. I was very instrumental in assisting that township to be able to find their assessor, and it was an interim position from the get-go to the time in which we've concluded that. And I believe that ended June 10th, May 10th? May 10th. May 10th, June 10th. But we've had a number of experiences in Oakland County.
And our city manager has checked references?
Well, council member, one of the things that we'll be doing as a follow-up, if we receive your approval, remember your approval is conditional to the review of the city attorney. And I have checked references leading into this meeting here, but we'll also be further vetting out this proposed contract. And I have now delivered it to the city attorney, and she's looking at it now. I also wanted to mention, I think, Aaron, you used to work for the city of Oak Park at some point.
I have.
Okay. So you're familiar with the terrain?
I'm quite familiar with the terrain. I was the assessor here for 5 years, prior to coming to work for WCA Assessing.
Question, Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes, in the third paragraph, see the second and third year, the cost will be $153,300 in the second and third year. It also states it will include an increase of inflation plus 1% in the third year. Is there a cap on that inflation cost? And what if there is no inflation? It's just saying there isn't any.
If I can address that, our contractual increases are oftentimes very tied into the inflation rate multiplier or the CPI as established by the Michigan State Tax Commission. So normally what occurs is taxable values are limited upon the amount that they can increase every year by 5% of the rate of inflation, and we tie our contractual increases based off of that same issue. So for example, in 2016, the inflation rate was 0.3%, and our contracts increased 1.03%. So it can never exceed 5%, and that information is written specifically right within the contract. And I'm sure that the city attorney and the city manager have had some opportunity to review that language.
So there is a good possibility that the second and third year, it could increase to $155,000 instead of $153,300.
That is possible, depending upon the consumer price index, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Further
Another question.
questions?
I know that it says here in the proposal that staffing would be Monday through Thursday. I think we've had some discussion at previous meetings here of our, the city side of the building down there to be open on Fridays. And how, I'm asking you and the city manager how that's gonna factor in.
I'll take that one, Councilmember. We are aware of that, and for those of you who don't know, we are going to starting July 1st, and ironically, it actually is July 1st, which is the first Friday that we will be open. We will be open every other Friday, 8 to 4, to the public. City Hall, that is. Everywhere else is already open. As a condition of that, we will have staff cross-trained to be able to take questions from residents. If they need assessing questions answered, we'll get back to them, or they'll be able to answer those questions on site as they're going to be cross-trained. But I don't see that as an issue whatsoever.
Any other further questions? Councilmember Radner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a couple very small questions. The two of you said you're partners in this venture?
Yes, sir.
You guys have been in this from the beginning?
I've been with the company since 1987.
I've been with the company since 2004.
Okay, and the reason I'm wondering that is that, you know, point of reference, law firms, partners kind of come and go. The two of you seem to have been there for, at least for a while. How many other cities, if you know, and this is for my peace of mind as well as for the peace of mind of the residents that are watching this, how many other cities is your company currently servicing?
25 different cities and townships.
Total of 25 different cities.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further
I
questions?
see the, yeah, I have the list online. Not for me.
Are
Thank
we
you.
ready for a vote?
I am ready.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes,
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
motion carried unanimously. Welcome to the City of Oak Park, and
Thank you.
welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'd like to call the Assistant City Manager, Kevin Yee, to the podium for 15B, please.
Thank you. Please find attached a request from Trolson Excavating Company, the contractor for the 2015 catch basin line replacement and sewer project M606. They have indicated they would like to extend their unit prices to perform the 2016 sewer lateral and catch basin repair project M648. It is recommended that City Council approve the offer for the contract extension from Trolson Excavating Company in the total amount of $202,301.50 for the 2016 sewer lateral and catch basin repair project M648. Funding is available in the Water and Sewer Fund for this expenditure.
Is there a motion to approve this contract extension?
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion or questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
This company did the contract in 2014, 2015, correct?
Correct.
So the length of the work for 2016, 2017, how is it? Is it similar? Because I'm looking at the price, and if I recall, I think this is a little more expensive than the contract for 2014, 2015.
It's actually a similar size project. Is that what you were asking? I mean, similar, the amounts are similar.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Councilmember Rich.
In layman terms, What is a catch basin repair?
A catch basin repair is, we'll have catch basin and catch basin lines that run under the street that will need repair. So we do evaluations of our catch basins, whether they're sinking or whether there's problems with them, and we also videotape what we call the crossovers, so the lines that run between the catch basins and into the sewer. And we videotape those lines, and we look for needed repairs for those. And that's what this project will repair those.
The City of Oak Park has always done a remarkable job in maintaining its infrastructure compared to other cities. And thanks to this wonderful department, we can be very pleased with the state of our infrastructure in the City of Oak Park. If there are no further questions, we can vote on this proposal. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes,
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
motion carried.
Assistant City Manager Yee, 15C, please.
Thank you. Plans have been completed for a new playground structure at Victoria Park. This play structure has been approved by MDOT, and the installer has been working with the MDOT engineers to ensure it will fit within the newly repaired bridge deck. It is recommended that the proposed play structures and swing sets be approved. Funding is available. Funding for this project will be reimbursed by MDOT per our contract. So we have some renderings that are shown up here of the on the screen and in the packet, I believe, of the playground structures as they're proposed. As you know, Victoria Park right now is removed down to the bridge deck. They've poured the concrete on the deck. They're putting the waterproofing in now. They're going to be putting this back in the coming several months here, and we're hoping that in October that this play structure will be up. So that's what the goal is here. This play structure also will include having the rubberized membrane for the surfacing. So that'll have different colors to it as well. So we think this is a very nice play structure. It's modern and has a lot of the modern play amenities. Is also accessible.
Assistant City Manager, if we could have our new Director of Recreation come up and speak to these things. I do want to also just commend your efforts and the department's efforts. We didn't have to go out and privately, on our own accord at least, bid for these. We did that because we wanted to make sure that we were getting the most bang for our buck for our residents. But could you
Yes.
speak to them? I know you've reviewed them, but could you speak to them?
I guess to the choice of which ones were picked and which elements were picked.
Actually, I can't speak to the ones that were picked as far as the slides and some of the other amenities, but I can tell you that we did take a look and made sure that they were all accessible, that we had some swings for accessibility, as well as some of the play structures would be accessible to for all kids to enjoy and play on.
Nice. And is this comparable to what was there before?
Yes. She wasn't here when we were working on it, or what was there before, so it was removed by the time she got here.
Right.
But yes, the capacity is slightly greater than what was there, and as far as the different play amenities, I think it offers a much bigger variety. The old playground structure that was there, although it was only about five years old when they removed it, it was not as modern. This has more of the cable climbers and things like that, which are more part of a modern play structure, as well as updating the color. I think the color scheme that has been picked out is much more modern and nice.
Nice. Mayor Pro Tem?
I know with the older structure, one of the reasons that we were not going to be utilizing the play equipment that was there was because the manufacturer was no longer available to repair any items that were needed. So we won't have that situation with this new equipment. If there's repair that's needed, the manufacturer is available and the parts will still be available.
Correct. Exactly right.
Solomon Radner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to commend both of you for the work on this. I actually bring my kids to this park quite a bit, and I'm very familiar with the old structures. I might be able to answer the questions better than you guys can. The one thing that I'm kind of curious about, though, is I saw that there are swings that are going to be here, but they're not depicted in this picture at all. Do we know what those swings are going to look like? Are they going to be the big kind like were there before, or going to be a little bit smaller, more, fewer? Any idea?
Yes, there are going to be, it looks like in the proposal here, there are going to be 11, there has to be 12. I believe there's, that doesn't sound right, I think there's 8 actually swings. And there's going to be the the belt type for smaller children, and then one of the full framed for accessibility. So they are not depicted on the renderings here. But we did have them, and that's one of the things that Lori we had worked on, is making more, adding an accessible swing and adding the belt swings for the smaller children. So there are going to be, I believe it's 8 swings.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I see in the photos there is wheelchairs next to several of the PlayStations. So does that mean the equipment is accessible for children with special needs?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. My niece is a special needs child, and it's limited to the places where we can take her. So thank you for putting that extra thought into that.
Further questions? Councilmember Radner.
So there's not going to be a step of any sort? It's going to be all on an equal plane?
I believe that in some areas, there are going to be steps. You want to speak to that, or I know that I believe that there are some steps to get onto the play structure itself, but there are other features in here that you can roll right up to and get on for accessibility.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's a mixed use, I guess, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot with all kinds of details of what color is the swing going to be on, the north side of the park. But I was just wondering about that one part because the Mayor Pro Tem brought it up, and I wanted to hear a little bit more about it. So thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Rich.
I have never seen Solomon Radner more excited about any project in this city. Just want to make that point.
If you have to take kids to the park, you would be excited too. That's very good. That's great. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very well done.
Motion to approve this play structure, please.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Director Maroney, 15D, please. A resolution approving the purchase of tax foreclosed property from Oakland County.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. We received the list of tax foreclosed properties about 2 months ahead of schedule from Oakland County. We received it over the Memorial Holiday weekend. And we have 12 properties that we received tax foreclosure notices on that we are presenting to City Council tonight to purchase them like we did last year and then sell them to a third party to rehabilitate each of the homes and then sell them to owner occupants, so we can increase the owner occupancy rate in Oak Park as opposed to them all going to rentals as they have in the past. So of the 12 properties, there are 11 homes. There is 1 vacant lot. We removed the next agenda item that we're going to do some further research on. We had a third company come forward that was interested in also putting a bid in on purchasing these properties. We're going to do a thorough review of that and bring it back to City Council for the next council meeting on June 20th. So in front of you is a resolution to purchase the tax foreclosed properties from Oakland County.
We need a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion or questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
This is the same company who purchased the tax foreclosed homes last year, correct?
We have not made a decision as to who we are going to sell the properties to. The resolution is just to purchase them from the county. Last year, we did use Global Realty to purchase the homes we had last year. They rehabilitated them and sold them to owner occupants, apologize. And they did a really good job for us in the past year.
Okay, thank you.
Good, let's keep it up.
Well, to be fair to both companies, we are looking into the second one as well, and that will come back to you at the next meeting. But we now need do we have a vote? Need a vote. Need a motion? Just a vote. All those in favor of this purchase, a roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
This is unanimously approved, and I think this whole project was a wonderful thing for the city of Oak Park, because instead of these properties going to out-of-town investors who have nothing to gain by Oak Park being wonderful, these people are held by contract. They put an average of $30,000 into each of the homes. They cleaned them up. The neighbors were thrilled. Our building department was very happy. And as promised in the contract, they sold them to residents at the end of the time, actually before the time, August. And they set a high bar.
Yes.
So the department will be reviewing their proposal and another proposal, and will come back with a recommendation to council at the next meeting.
Here, here. I think it goes without saying, Madam Mayor and members of council, but this firm exceeded our expectations. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Director Maroney, 15F, please.
Yes, a few months ago, I came to City Council to get approval to amend the master deed on the properties that the city owns on Coolidge, just north of 8 Mile Road, so that we can put it out for an RFP to sell these vacant parcels. Part of that process is completed, and the only step left is to then amend the master deed plat. In order to finish that portion of amending the master deed, the county is requesting that we have these properties replatted and remove those 10 properties that were part of the original master deed, and just include the parcels that the city owns. So in front of you is a request to approve the expenditure of $2,600 to hire Nowak and Fraus to do that work for us. Our city attorneys recommend using them and said the price that they have received from them is very favorable.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve this expenditure?
So moved.
Support.
Are there questions or discussion? Are we ready for a vote then? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yep.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Motion carries.
Okay, 15G, if I could call our Director of Finance, Carl Johnson, to the podium, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I come bearing good news for once as the Finance Director. So the first item we have here is our quarterly investment report. So as you know, as required by state law, I am required to come before you and let you know what I'm holding or what we are holding as a city as far as investments go as of the end of each quarter. So the report you have before you, which totals $21.3 million, is total cash of the entire city and what it's invested in, whether it's in government securities, mutual bonds, certificates of deposit, commercial papers, et cetera. All of these investments here are strictly monitored by the state of Michigan, i.e. these are the only types of investments I'm allowed to invest in. Also the Oakland County investment pool, can't forget about that one. But these are restricted types of investments that we're allowed to invest in. If you looked at this report a year ago, it would not be as detailed as this. I really got into it when I first got here and got all of our money invested and into short-term and long-term and a good variety of investments, and actually timed it perfectly with the market was at a high at the time. So we have extremely favorable interest rates, and our interest returns through the 9 months ended March 31st, 2016 totaled $141,000 compared to where we were last year at this time, which I believe was, let me look at my message here, 13,126. So our investment returns are coming along nicely in very secure instruments, and this is the report of what we're invested in. So
Now, this memorandum claims that you have increased the returns on overall investments 5 to 6 times. But when I did the math, I found that it was actually 10 times.
you know, it's rounding. You know, it's good rounding, actually.
So bravo.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. like I say, this is all the funds of the city. That's important to remember. This isn't just general funds. So this is our water and sewer fund, our roads funds, any and all funds of the city are all merged together, invested as a pool to maximize our rate of return so that every fund, no matter how small, so if our drug forfeiture fund has $10,000 in it, they're getting this same rate of return by pooling all of our money. So that's really the big benefit out of all this. So no matter how big or small, we have one pot of money and everybody shares in the earnings. So it's great news.
Okay, well, we need a motion to accept this quarterly investment report for period ending 3/31/16.
Absolutely.
Second. That was,
And we have a second?
yes.
Assuming that was a motion.
Yes.
Yes. that was
Yes.
moved. Any questions or further discussion?
I have one question.
Councilmember Radner.
The back of this page is current interest rate. What does that mean?
Current interest rate, so there's a rate of return on the instrument itself. So you'll see like the Jensen School municipal bonds, the current interest rate on that bond itself.
How'd you know I was looking at that one?
Is 5.15%. So the interest payment we get is actually 5% of the, how much do I have in there? $530,000. But what happens is you pay a premium or a discount based on the market rate at the time that you buy it. So this is a $500,000 bond that we purchased for $530 to net the yield of the 2% that you see right next to it. So,
Gotcha.
so you pay $530 for a $500,000 bond that has a cash flow of interest at that 5.15%.
That makes a lot more sense. Thank you very much. Because
Sure.
5%, I'd throw my own money in there
Yeah,
too.
I love those, and I wish that was all 5%, but again, 2% is still outstanding in this market, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Further questions? All those in favor of accepting this report?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We accept it and are very happy with it.
Great, me too. Let's keep it rolling.
Director Johnson, 15H, please.
The next item is the quarterly budget amendment for all of the funds of the cities. So as I've talked about before, the goal is to bring before you amendments as items occur. So a budget is a tool that is just used to guide us through the fiscal year. So the day it's passed, I always tell everybody, the day it's passed, the following day, it's really kind of outdated because everything is not going to go exactly to plan. So do we have the same amount of people? Do we have the same interest rate of return? Again, when we started this thing, we estimated a return of 0.4% on our investments, and now they're all 10 times over. So everything that goes on during the year, what we want to do is adjust for it and make sure that at least on a quarterly basis, I bring it before you and request amendments to get us back in line with what's actually going on. So in summary, the general fund, our main operating account, the amendments that I'm proposing net to a zero, i.e. the revenue still equal expenses for the current year. So the budget amendment itself increases our revenues by $115,000 and increases our expenditures by $115,000, keeping our net fund balance exactly where we like it, right around that 15% or $3.4 million in the general fund. And you'll see on the subsequent pages in the actual resolution, there's amendments for the Major Street Fund, the District Court Fund, the Municipal Debt Service Fund, the Road Debt Service Fund, our new refunding bond fund, the Motor Pool Fund, the Risk Management Internal Service Fund, and then the Court Retiree Healthcare Fund. All of those funds have various amendments to them. And again, all keep us right in line with where we were. Some are most are favorable, but the majority of them are just housekeeping items where one department or area might have been over, and then I take any overages that we have in one area and offset them by favorable variances in another one. And as we sit here today, we are still right on track, which is the important thing, to come in right where our budget was estimated as of June 30, 2016, which is scarily only a couple weeks away before we end our fiscal year. So.
We need,
I have a question.
we don't have a motion yet, do we? Okay. We need a resolution approving this requested budget amendment.
So moved.
We need a second.
Support.
Support. Mayor Pro Tem, discussion or questions?
Yeah, I just have a question, and please excuse my ignorance. I'm just not very familiar with these large numbers and this terminology, but I'm looking at the Major Street Fund, and I see that the amended budget amount is $717,000 $717,000. So, could you explain that to me a little bit? Did the budget decrease by that amount, or did we lose that much amount in the street fund?
The
or-
major street fund.
So the very.
Oh, you're talking about page 2 of the narrative,
Yes.
right? Okay. So what that represents is before this amendment, that's what our amended budget was showing, that we were going to use fund balance to the tune of $700,000. So the majority of this was when the budget was passed during the current year. So there's been no amendments to this fund. This is the very first amendment. The original budget that was passed for the 15-16 fiscal year said we were going to dip into and use $700,000 of the fund balance for various road projects. So that's what that 717 represents. It represents the budget that was passed before this amendment came before you. The amendment before you increases fund balance or reduces the use of fund balance by that $198,000. So the net for the year is only a use of about $500,000 as opposed to $700,000. The biggest thing with that is we got additional road funding that was approved at midway through the year by the governor to offset some of because the ballot language didn't go through, we got additional road funding that came through there. But that's what that 717 represents.
Thank you.
And again, these are great questions because it's important you guys understand, this stuff and what you're voting on, et cetera. So what that represents, like I say, each quarter you'll see this is where the amended budget is to date, and then any changes will be highlighted right underneath that. And you saw on the first page of the general fund, the amended budget was break even, and then this amendment kept us break even. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you just speak to the district court revenue collected in the narrative on the first page?
Yeah, that darn district court, they're doing a great job. How dare they? They've actually implemented collection procedures that are paying off very nicely this year. So the court itself, the revenues are projected as of right now to come in about $111,000 higher than what was originally budgeted for the beginning of the year. They are utilizing a lot of those costs. So what's happening, the retiree healthcare costs for the court employees are actually up very close to that amount as well. So the good news is our revenues are up. The bad news is their costs are up, and so the two are kind of a net. But good news is if their revenues weren't up, we would be kind of in a little bit of trouble there, and the general fund would have to kick in that extra. But court's doing a great job collecting the fines and fees that are out there. And again, this is very good news on their behalf.
And so that means that the city does not have to add to and take away from our general fund to add to the.
Yep, not any more than what was originally budgeted. That's
not
correct.
any more than we already do.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, like I said, that's good news, because without the extra revenues, I'd be
You
coming
would've had
before you
to.
saying the general fund's got to kick in another $100,000 towards their fund.
And
City Manager
I just wanted to add that thanks to our officers too, who are writing more tickets and enforcing our laws.
Yeah, I guess that's where it starts originally, yes. But some of this is their old stuff that was out there that they've proactively gone after. So, and yes, our officers are writing tickets.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
And could you just speak toward the brownfield agreements a little bit, please?
The
Brownfield agreements. It's on the last paragraph.
Narrative,
The narrative.
page 1,
Page 1,
at the bottom.
at the very bottom,
Oh,
the last
yes.
bullet item.
So our brownfields, we've captured, the brownfields capture tax money. And the tax money then gets forward to the developer to reimburse them for eligible costs. As part of our brownfield agreements with each of our brownfields, we have 2. The city is allowed to charge up to $5,000 as an administrative fee. The city had collected brownfield revenues monies for the past 5 to 6 years, and we never distributed them. So they were sitting in the bank and sitting in the brownfield fund to the tune of $300,000 or $400,000. So we finally got our record straightened out, dispersed all of that money right around Christmas time, and at that time we were able to take our $5,000 per year per brownfield and reimburse ourselves for it. So that's what this $35,000 represented. So a one-time inflow this year of $35,000, and annually we'll get $10,000 a year for an administrative fee related to the brownfields.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? City Manager Tungate.
Just to elaborate a little bit more on the brownfield collection of the administrative fee, I wanted to just let you know that our finance staff, our director of economic development communications put a whole bunch of extra time in to sort this whole thing out, because while we've been capturing for the last 5 or 6 years The brownfield plan itself was approved long before that, and the problem was that there wasn't a positive capture because of the way the real estate market tumbled after the Great Recession. So I just wanted to throw that out there and thank both of you for your efforts.
Speak just briefly to debt service funds in the narrative on page 2 near the bottom.
So remember, debt service funds, we have 3 levies, 3 bonds that are outstanding. The municipal the municipal complex debt, the debt related to this building. We have a 2006 road bond, and then we have our brand new 2015 refunding bond. All 3 of those bonds are paid for by property tax revenues. And so these amendments you have before you, revenues are always estimated at the beginning of the year. We always estimate what the true taxable value is. During the year, there's border review reductions, there's MTT adjustments, et cetera. So around this time of year, when tax collection's over, we true up the revenues as well as true up the expenditures, and that's what really these amendments are for. In the 2010 municipal complex debt and the 2006 road bonds, that's what those are. And then the refunding of the debt that we had, the 2015 refunding, that goes into a brand new fund all by itself. We pay off the old debt and we establish a new one. So that's, you see some very large number in that one amendment, the 2015, it's the $8.6 million amendment. That is just the proceeds of the new bonds paying off the old bonds. And so all of that activity was not budgeted for because we weren't sure when and if we were going to be able to refund those bonds. So that's what those represent.
City Manager Tungate.
Director Johnson, if you just could elaborate again, I know we talked about it during the budget approval process, but the result of refinancing the 2003 street bonds and the 2006 street bonds has resulted in approximately what, about $1 million less that our residents will have to pay in property taxes?
Yeah, each of those saved more than $1 million in true cash over the life of the debt. And as a result, on an annual basis, this year, our millage has dropped by about $1 million. I think it may be a little over $1 million between the 2 of those debts. Again, a direct decrease in our taxpayers' taxes as a result of refinancing. Again, the favorable interest rates and the city's proactive approach in addressing those and paying and refinancing them. Even I think the one wasn't even callable for a few years. We were proactive. The city manager was very proactive and wanted to do it even though it wasn't callable for several years.
You got to jump and shout when you announce stuff like that.
Exactly.
Where are the pom-poms?
Exactly.
Thank you.
It's too scary to have me with pom-poms, though.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes. Thank you.
Unanimously approved. Thank you so much. We like when you bring good news.
Yeah, me too.
Madam Mayor, members of council, last thing for the city manager report I wanted to mention, I know I'm not supposed to hold things up for the camera, you guys, but for those of you that haven't seen this yet, I want to thank Crystal McLean for putting together, this is our, I think maybe first ever executive summary of the city's budget. And it's in a very, oh, there we go.
Colorful.
Easy to read format, but for the lay person, I think it's just a real great benefit in understanding where we're spending our money and what we're doing and the things happening throughout our city. I don't know if you can see that another page, but if you'd like one of these, they are on our brand new city website as of, what, a week ago, Kim and Denise, a week ago? And there's a link to this, or if you want to come into City Hall, we'll have copies available here. So I just wanted to mention that, and that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Very impressive. And that new website is oakparkmi.gov. oakparkmi.gov. If you haven't seen it, check it out. We are now on call to the audience. Please, when you come up, give us your name and address. We limit comments to 3 minutes. And do not allow personal attacks. Thank you.
Mayor, would you help me please with some of this, because I've never done this before.
Just give us your name and address.
My name is Carol Kunkel. I live at 14001 Belfour at the corner. Last Monday.
At the corner of Balfour and
Belfour
Kipling.
yeah. Last Monday at 10:32, there was a horrible accident, and I had predicted the mayor lives on my street, or our street, and that there was going to be a really bad accident, and yes, there was. There was a lady that went through the yield sign. She was going towards 10 Mile Road, and she wasn't looking where she was going. I don't even know how fast she was going. But there was another vehicle coming down
West on Balfour.
Balfour to Coolidge. And she got T-boned, turned around, got on the grass, I call it the boulevard. And then my neighbor's car, who was on the street legally, his car was hit, and he also went. Then she proceeded up on my boulevard, knocked some bark off the tree, and went right into the side of my house, causing damage. I would like to see, because really no one stops. I mean, no one yields, or they just go right through it. And I stop, come to a complete stop, on Kipling and Balfour, because our street, for some reason, is really bad for accidents. And we would like to ask that there be a 4-way stop signs to be on Balfour and Kipling. I don't know what else.
To provide safety for the
Mhm.
Thank you. Our city manager would like to speak.
Well, first of all, thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank you for your input on that, and I did have an opportunity to talk to the mayor as your neighbor. One of the things that I'd like to say, first of all, is I can't make any promises, but if you wouldn't mind talking to our assistant city manager, and perhaps we could look into some kind of a study in terms of how maybe we could filter that intersection a little bit better so those kinds of things don't happen in the future.
I know if we put a police car there, we would make a lot of money for the city.
Everywhere. Everywhere in the city.
Now, who do I talk to? I don't know.
Kevin, you're right behind you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
I can make an appointment with you. All right, I guess
Talk to Kevin Yee.
that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. You did great.
It didn't hurt, did it? Okay, it didn't hurt. Just me. No, I just got okay.
Hi, Stephen Gold, 15,000 Leslie. And I was going to comment on Director Cooper's winning an award, but I understand he's not here, and you're going to recognize him next time. The only thing I do want to add to it, it's really important to notice that this award, which you'll describe next time, was given to him by employees, by people that work for him and people who wished they worked for him. And that's really quite an honor. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the Citizens Public Safety Academy, which I just completed along with the mayor, Christo, a couple of other people. It was a wonderful experience. It really gave us an insight into the workings of public safety and what exactly, they do and how much they do for us. And it wasn't just a case of learning that what we usually see on the streets, the police officer out there writing a ticket or something. The interesting part was what happens after the police officer returns to the station. We learned about how they write reports, how the incident, the flow through the incident, through detectives, what they go through. We learned about the court procedures. We talked to the city, an attorney, prosecuting attorney, defense attorney, a judge. We learned all about firefighting. It was just the firearms tactical simulation, which was an incredible experience when you realize how these officers have to react so quickly and make the wrong choice and they're dead. So it was just a wonderful experience. I would highly encourage other people to sign up for it when it opens up again, in the future. It really, really just was an eye-opener. And it just increased our understanding of what our public safety officers do tremendously. It was a wonderful experience. And I would really like to thank Detective Coach and who came up with the original idea, and Director Cooper for following through on it and okaying it. You know, it was just really a great example. And I want to also thank all the public safety officers who acted as instructors and put forth their time after hours to help instruct, and really, it was a great experience. I could blabber on for it for over 3 minutes, so I'm not going to.
Thank you so much. And I see you're in uniform.
I walked out of the house in this, quote, uniform. The feral cat that's in my area took one look at me and panicked. They thought I was the code enforcement officer.
Thank you.
Joyce Bannon, 10611 Troy. I just have a small question here. There's a meeting on July 5th or on the 18th regarding code enforcement. Where and what time? It's a Tuesday and a Monday, but I don't know where and what times.
Are you referencing the meeting that I was going to study, the study session to be scheduled?
Yes.
It would likely be scheduled at 6 o'clock on one of those days. And there will be a public notice once it's decided.
Well, how will I know that?
It will be posted on our website as well as everywhere that we post our usual meetings.
Our marquee.
Social media, website, everywhere.
Okay.
It will be an open public meeting.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? It is call to council time right now. I'd like to start with a letter from Julian Cook Jr. and Carol Cook on Burton. On the evening of April 12th, my wife Carol Cook called the police dispatcher to request officers come to our home at 13,000 Burton to assist me in getting from a wheelchair to my bed. 2 policemen responded within 3 minutes and assisted my wife in making decisions regarding my care. I was determined that medics should come to take my vitals and determine if I should be taken to a hospital. It was decided that the last medication which I was given probably caused a reaction. Officers Andrew Bellinger and Matthew Duncan were so caring and courteous that they made an emergency event comforting for my wife. I vaguely remember the evening, but my wife gives them 5 stars. So thank you. Just kind of a review of what we learned from our finance director, that the interest income that last year was $13,000, this year, the first 3 quarters, is $141,000, which is 10 times more money a year due to better financial management. Instead of just letting that money sit in a checking account, actively working with it has made a huge difference to the city. Just wanted to push that one through. Regional Transit Authority Master Plan. My son Andy lived in Washington, D.C. for 5 years and didn't need a car because their mass transit is so wonderful. One of the officers of the RTA, the Regional Transit Authority, used to live in D.C. and he sold his house in D.C. Shortly after that, they added a transit stop right near his home, and unfortunately, after he already sold it, it went up, it tripled in value. Tripled. So think about that when you're voting on this transit bill in November. And I was going to talk about the Citizens Academy, but it was done beautifully. So I will move on to Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I want to say kudos also to Director Cooper. The award he received was voted on by his peers as well as his employees. So I think that says a lot for his leadership abilities. I think he does very well. I also want to say kudos to the Oak Park girls track team. I believe they came in 3rd or either 4th in their relay races for the state. And the boys for the Oak Park track team came in first place, and this was the first time since 1976, I believe. So kudos to Oak Park. Everyone, please be aware, be cognizant of the weather change, and dress accordingly and be safe.
Thank you. Councilmember Radner.
I don't usually say much during the call to council, but there is one thing that I want to say tonight, and that is I wanted to publicly thank and acknowledge Eric Tungate and the team that that uncovered this crime immediately and took immediate action, involved law enforcement, and nipped the problem in the bud. You know, I've been hearing a lot from people about how does something like this happen? Why can't you vet people and prevent things like this from happening? Well, it's impossible. Everybody who's here who's sitting in a chair, you can right now jump up, grab your chair, and run out the door. And then we will have lost a chair. Now, we will catch you, and we will prosecute you, and you might just go to jail. And that's because we have the proper things in place. Now, some of you are turning around now and saying that we actually have law enforcement here right now. It wouldn't work right now. But if you apply that analogy to your everyday lives, your jobs, you can look around and see things. Anybody who works a cash register could just grab the cash and run out. You'll get caught the next day as long as you have the right checks and balances in place. And that's what Eric and his team put in place, and that's why I just wanted to publicly thank you and acknowledge you for a job very well done. And as I usually say, thank you all for coming out and have a great night.
Very nice. Councilmember Rich.
Thank you all for coming. Have a good night.
He's always so wordy. I will not adjourn the meeting because we've already voted to go into closed session. There is no business after the closed session, so you won't be missing anything if you leave now. I will. We need a motion to accept the minutes from the closed session.
So moved.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay?
Good luck with that one.
There being no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned.
Have a great night,